Welcome back, everybody, to Wondering Into Wellness. Lydia and again here, your usual. And today we have lovely guests on What's in Your Baskets, our first two-pronged guest approach. It is Lucy and Cara, founders of Mum Talks, which is a beautiful, beautiful company which organise mum meetups around the country and also online. And I have worked with you guys before and done pregnancy yoga and all sorts of things on your events. I love them. I've been at the in-person ones and the online ones. And it's just such a lovely thing as a mum. When you get a young baby, often you're really isolated and you're just kind of stuck in your house going, is this it? This is what this is? It's not great. Yeah. And you guys have these things where you can kind of go, I can come, I can chat to other mums, I can learn about stuff. There's always great speakers, sometimes there's physical movement practices and different things, but your babies are welcome to come as well. And so it just facilitates that loveliness for mums to get out of the house and not feel like you're kind of stuck in that little bubble.
Yeah, that's a lovely intro. Thank you.
Yes.
Perfect to be here. You can talk now. You got the job.
In the market for a job. Great.
Well, actually, advertising.
So, thank you for coming on What's in the Basket. I don't think we've kind of talked really about why we did this in the first place, but it was ultimately because, and I think you guys will get this more than anyone we've had on really, when I was a teenager and I used to read like Cosmopolitan and stuff, there was always some kind of a feature of like, what's in this person's handbag? And I just found it fascinating to like, lip balm have they got like rescue remedy, like you were saying, or what do they keep in their bag? Because I always have millions of weird stuff, like 25 Skittles hanging around the bottom and like an army figure, like all, you know, that kids get weird stuff. And so we wanted to talk about when you come into the health food store, and this is obviously Finn's health food store, the Hopsack, what are the things that you would pick up? What do you actually use in your life? What do you want to use in your life? And just for people to get to see a little bit behind the scenes of like who you guys are as individuals as well, not just as Mum Talks, the collective. Love it.
Love it. Thank you so much for having us.
You're very welcome. Yeah, so like I think like your selections are fun because there's a bit of self-care there, which is the Mum Talks approach, right? But there's a bit of health. Curious, talk to us through, like, so you obviously both have kids, like you are mums not first and foremost, that's not true, identity of your own, but in terms of the business you set up, it was as a mum from mums, right, or two mums from mums. So can you talk to us a little bit about that, and did it influence like the sorts of things you do, your health approach and that sort of stuff?
Yeah, so we set up Mum Talks about 6 years ago, and I suppose the idea came from the fact that yes, we'd had our own children, and we had felt that when we had our babies that the focus was very much on the baby. Is the baby okay? You went to the 6-week check. Baby's okay. Tick 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 tick. How are you doing? Yeah, grand. We'll put you back on.
Haggard, but I'll do. So
As you go,
I'll make it home.
Wobble back out of there. So we just really wanted to create a space and a community and events that focused on the mum, and just to remind mums that it's really important to look after yourselves during this time. You know, we've gone through this massive transition. We've gone through this big identity shift. We need to put ourselves back on the top of our to-do list. So yeah, self-care is very important.
And do you find it as mums, is it getting easier as the kids get older, or is it are you still in that? No. Damn, lots of shakings of heads for those who are listening and not watching.
No, it's just really different. It's different. It's really different. But I think what's different in that respect is that we know who we are now a bit more than who we were when we had our children.
Yeah.
Actually, that change was so dramatic. Whereas now I think we found our groove of mothers, and now it's just dealing with the challenges of pre-nagers, teenagers, and as our kids grow. But I think the biggest challenge for women is when they become a mum, so that fourth trimester that we talk about, that the support should be out there, and I think a lot of women feel really forgotten, and it's really important we're a small aspect of giving mums a voice and that you aren't forgotten, because we felt very forgotten, and that's why we set it up. So
interesting. I was talking to a mum this morning as well, who shall remain nameless, is a bit private, but she's got two kids who are early teens guy and just pre-teens girl, and she's been lost in the world of being a mum and working part-time and trying to do all those things. And you know, some of the things that got reset positively during the pandemic, her husband started to make the lunch boxes, because they suddenly began to see, hang on a minute, you're not running out the door anymore. Do you know, like, can we kind of reset this? But still, she says, even like post-pandemic, a lot of things just slipped back to where they were. And so she's retraining now in as a Pilates teacher, and she's trying to like put herself on the map as an individual as well as a mum. Like it's kind of this handling of multiple identities is the thing. It's kind of, it screwballs.
Yeah, but also I think it's the different seasons of the life that you're in, and with the different stages of the kids. So maybe like for that 4th trimester and for the first few years, you're very much like the kids, and then maybe as you kind of start to come out of that kind of foggy kind of time, then maybe you do want to start going, okay, now I do have a bit more time to put myself forward a bit, and just kind of recognizing that this is the stage that I'm at my life, and acknowledging it and saying that's okay. It's okay if you want to like take a little step back now, but then you can always come back into it or whatever. So it's we love the community that we've created, because it is all about that kind of support and bringing mums together to talk about the reality of motherhood and what it's actually about, as opposed to kind of what you can either see on social, but also what we were kind of, as you're saying, when we were 15, 16 in those magazines, like what the perception of motherhood was back then, because they were kind of beliefs that maybe would have become ingrained into us of what society and culture expected of us as mums. So it's nice to kind of maybe just put the spotlight back on, well, what does it actually mean to you, and you get to define motherhood. How do you want to do it?
And one question from that as well: do your mums understand what you're doing now, or does it seem bonkers to them? Or are they like, oh, we should have been doing this too? Or
our mums are the number one like supporters.
Oh really?
Unbelievable.
That's great.
I mean, they go to pretty much every meetup. One of them or both of them are on the door.
Wow.
And I think they actually think they would love something for their age, because they're grandmothers, so they're dealing with I suppose everyone is a bit healthier now, so they are, thank God, they're quite energetic and they have energy, but they have the challenges of they worry about us, and they worry about their grandchildren, and so the grandmother still worries like they did when we were born, and they're like, God, we're forgotten. Older women, it's society, we're forgotten, we're forgotten. And I think our mums have really believed, and also they can see we've made a difference. Like we've made a difference to a lot of people, and like I don't think we give ourselves the credit sometimes that we get really nice messages that actually we are doing something that wasn't there, that isn't there for other mums to meet up and bring their baby along. So I think our mums are
and they're our number one helpers. They come along to our events as well.
That's really cool. So they're actually there on the ground with you.
Unpaid help. It's extra.
That's why you have family, right?
I get a bunch of flowers once a year.
But it's so true, because I remember them. I don't know whether it was the first event that I did with you guys that was in that lovely hotel in town, and we were sitting around on kind of big tall stools, and there were loads of people there, and I was talking rather than yogaing.
One of our first events.
Yeah, I think it was kind of early on, and I remember telling the story of like how ultimately shit it was for me when Ruben was little, and how bad the sleep was, and how whenever I told that story to people when he was little, people were just like, "Well, I just don't want to hear. I just want to hear that everything's wonderful and beautiful and that you love it." And when I was done, I'm not loving it. That's not what's happening here. People are like, "Don't hear it." And I still have people, just this week, I had someone come up to me and go, "I've been following you online ever since that event, because no one had said out loud what I heard you say, which is what I felt at that moment." So it is, that's like 6 years ago.
It is, and it's massive, and I think that's kind of one of the things about, so with Mum Talks, we have 3 speakers that come and speak, and we usually have like an expert who will talk about kind of mental health or yoga, but then we also have people that talk about their experience of motherhood, so they're just moms talking about their experience of motherhood. And I think that's just so important, because I think it does take away a bit of that shame that I think women can sometimes feel when they are struggling, because they're like, I'm a woman, I was born to do this, and we're like, no, it's okay. Like we're not given a handbook, we're not given the support or the circle that women and mothers generations before and would have had. Like we are literally just trying to do it all, and it's not possible to do it all at the same time. So we're kind of, it's and I think by women talking about that and sharing their experiences, then it just makes you feel less alone and less kind of like you're failing, and then maybe gives another mum the confidence to talk about how they're feeling, and then we kind of hopefully create this ripple effect of like all feeling like, okay, we're all finding a bit shit at certain stages, so that's okay. I just need to be kind to myself during those times, rather than beating myself up and feeling like I'm failing as a woman.
But it speaks to this kind of fracturing of community in general, doesn't it? This kind of isolation thing, even in actually most specifically in urban environments where we're the most population dense, where the most people are, people feel the most alone, and you're like, hang on, that's backwards. Something's got to be fundamentally fixed about that. If you have more people like to hand, but you're finding yourself less, connected to them, then we're just doing something so wrong. I think like when I was down, we were farming in Roscommon for about 20 years, and when I was down there, it was weird because it was lonely, like definitely. I mean, like you're the only person within 5 miles. I was farming on my own for a bunch of it, but I'd have a neighbor who was like, the next neighbor over. You could go to him and you would go to him, as opposed to like when I was living in Radla and I didn't know anybody in the apartment block I was in until 4 years in. My next door neighbor's apartment flooded and I got a bang on the door at 4 in the morning. He was like, "Oh, hi, I'm Laura." I'm like, "Oh, right, how's it going? Let's work this out." And then it went back to the same thing the next day once the flood was over. I think so. It's really powerful, that oral tradition and understanding. It's like, yes, it's for women, but it's also for men. There's so much that needs to be like, and for grandmothers to like have their identity nourished by knowing there's other people going through the same thing as them.
And just to know that, like you were talking about seasons, that you have value, we have worth in all of the different seasons. Whether you're a kid, or you're a mum of a kid, or you're a mum of a mum, or you're a partner, whatever it is, that there is worth at all of them. And I think that we've really focused, society now values that, on the pretty fertile phase, whether you're a man or a woman, and then anything outside of those things, like kids are meant to be be quiet, sit at that desk, don't say anything, and anyone older than that, you're just like invisible. It would be in the margins over there. And what you're doing, it starts in the epicenter. If we change that from the mom, we change it in that birthing of the mother, it changes and goes all the way out into everyone who supports that community and around. So sometimes I think, like you were saying, you don't give yourself enough credit. We undervalue ourselves as mothers, but even in our business world, we do one thing. You often say to me, "Oh, I'm just a shopkeeper." And I'm like, "What?" No, you're helping like thousands and thousands of people in the community, and in communities getting better health. That's powerful stuff. But we often think, like, unless we're doing something massive or we're famous or whatever, that what we do doesn't have worth. And so I think what you're doing is giving that message really clearly to so many people. That's really important.
It's good, eh? Let's talk into your fix.
Yeah.
So there's some self-care in there.
Yeah.
There's some home care in there.
Yeah.
There's a bit of family health care in there as well.
Yeah.
So do you want to start, maybe, actually, we start with the fam? Like, talk to us about, we kind of guided you towards it a little bit, but you were looking for a vitamin D for your kids, yeah?
Yes. So Juliet, who is 14, she's actually taking a vitamin D tablet, but then Charlie is 4, so he obviously wouldn't be taking tablets or wouldn't really take anything.
Yeah.
And I just heard about how vitamin D was so important this time of year.
I know.
I see it's probably for his immune system. So I was asking what would be a good recommendation.
Yeah.
And I love this. I love the colour and
it's so cute, isn't it?
I love their whole range that they've done with the Royal Dahl collab.
The one that you get a lot is the popping candy bath salts. They're actually epic.
Cool.
They're
they have
really cool.
magnesium bath salts. So magnesium, like Epsom salts that you put in your bath, that helps with sleep. So for me, like, that's key for my kid. And they have lavender in there as well. But they put popping candy as well. So when it goes in the bath, it actually fizzles and pops. And it fizzles and pops for like ages. Not just like
big pops.
Really. So it's great because then he wants to have that bath before bed. But and then little, it's easy to do the bath bed thing. And they got older, it's not so easy. But now he's like headed to the bath, shoving them to the mid. So cool. And they've done this whole collab to make normal everyday products that we want to bring into their lives a bit more fun and fantastical, which is the whole Royal Dahl thing.
Everybody loves a bit of Royal Dahl in their life, that's for sure. Do your kids do Royal Dahl? Is that a thing? Would they know James and the Giant Peach when it gets home?
Again, the teenager will, but Charlie won't. But we can introduce the book as well, and kind of the two.
Yeah, it's a nice way to do it. So vitamin D, obviously, like you say, it's a winter health thing. It's such a big part of, I think originally, like, seasonal affective disorder was probably the first thing that we kind of started to think about vitamin D for. And then during the swine flu thing, there was another huge, the big study that I came across first, it was like, whoa, vitamin D. First found out that it was a hormone, not a vitamin at all. We shouldn't be calling it a vitamin. So and that's one of the reasons why it's not just for immune health, but it's for mood and it's for bone strength and all these sorts of things. So it's a really interesting thing. And it during the swine flu, there was a guy in a psychiatric hospital who was using it for, mood corrective stuff as a trial in one ward. And swine flu went through the hospital, and like every other ward, was swine flu. So I'm quite serious effects from it. And his ward, not a single person got swine flu, and that started a whole mad deluge of research into vitamin D and its ability to affect and improve and augment our immune system. So yeah, I think if you're going to pick one thing, but also beautifully, because it's dark outside, everyone's a bit more cranky waking up on a dark morning. It's really, people notice a difference from that. They really do, from getting vitamin D.
And it's a spray, which is great.
So one spray in the mouth, done, and tastes like kind of delicious, like grape and orange and raspberry.
It's being a fun game with anything to happen.
Gamify it.
Yes.
Yeah. And is supplementation a thing in your house? Is that something you do regularly, or is it like Is this recent, the vitamin D thing?
It kind of tends to be the season. So kind of during the summertime, I kind of tend to think we're going to be okay,
Ditto.
and then coming into like turning around back to school. So yeah, kind of September, October, I start thinking, okay, what do I need
Now's the
to
time.
help?
Yeah.
So this and then the vitamin C as well would be
Smart. Yeah, so you got zinc as well in there. What else? And there's a nice mix. Zinc and vitamin A. So it comes to mucous membranes. So one of the things we always talk about, mucous membrane health is like the most important thing probably for winter respiratory prevention of respiratory infection, because it's, I don't know about this, our mucous membranes, particularly those of us in speaking types of professions, when our vocal cords are dried out from talking all the time, we're going from cold to warm temperatures, from air conditioned to outside and that sort of stuff, that's when the mucous membrane dries out. And the function of that little membrane, the little buffer, is designed to prevent bacteria from adhering onto the lining of our very delicate human tissues. And so when mucous membrane is functioning properly, it just keeps flushing the stuff out. But when it dries out, that's when you get infections. So vitamin A is critical actually for mucous membrane health as well. So it's another part of the whole thing. One of the reasons why our parents might have given us cod liver oil as a kid, that was the vitamin A content for immunity for the mucous membranes thing.
And is this just for children, or can I take it as well?
You can take it. You just have to take whopping doses of it to get,
Okay.
actually, no, you would, because the zinc is only 1.5 milligrams, so it's, we might be taking 10, 15, 30 or 60 milligrams as adults, so it really is for the kids, probably like from like 15 upwards, they might be thinking about the adult version. We're going to roll that on the front, I'm sorry.
That orange. So pretty.
Isn't it fun? Yeah.
Okay.
So, where do we jump from there?
So, yeah, which one of yours should we choose first?
Oh, well, so we're going family. I was talking about linseed. So linseed, my mum would put on linseed. What the seeds? Yes, puts on all her porridge every morning, and she's always telling all of her daughters to put, and I always me too. And then I was shopping, and I was like, oh, linseed, I'm going to go for that, and for the whole family as well.
Yeah.
And I genuinely did not know what linseed is for. So do you want to talk me
Okay,
through
then.
why I need to take
Do
linseed?
you want to walk into linseed?
Yeah.
And a digestive health, I
Yeah.
think.
Yeah, so linseed or flax seeds, they're the same. You can use it for loads of different things. So there's a beauty aspect of it. But first, they're again, like exactly what Finn was talking about, they're that kind of mucolytic thing. They coat our mucous membranes. And they would have been traditionally used by our parents. Like I was the same when we were just flaxseed and everything, because when I was little, I used to get really bad constipation. And so what they do, like a chia seed, is that they get that kind of mucousy gel around it, and that mucousy gel goes into your body and it lines the gut and just moves everything along a little bit easier, and it also binds to stuff as well, so it just helps everything be a little bit more hydrated as it moves through. So it's great for constipation, gut healthy stuff. It's really good. You taught me how my little guy would be really prone to mouth ulcers. Now I could sometimes get them again, like you said, if we do a lot of talking and I'm not hydrating, I'll get mouth ulcers. You can just put linseeds into water and let them sit there for, I don't know, how long do you do it?
Oh, like minimum of 30 minutes, but really overnight is the ideal.
And then you just take that water and sweat it around your mouth like a mouthwash, and it's amazingly effective.
I've only through this weekend with a mouthful of mouth ulcers,
Really?
and I was using albasol, or that other stuff that was
yeah.
painful.
Yeah.
If I would be using the
There you
least.
go.
That's so
handy.
interesting.
You have it in your cupboard.
Yeah.
There's so many things what we're always trying to do, and I know that you're great at this as well with the shop, is that yes, you have all the products that you sell, but you're always trying to tell people and educate people about use the stuff that's in your cupboard, use the lemons or the ginger or whatever is there, or
the baking soda.
the baking soda, cider vinegar.
Always.
There's always millions of uses for those things, and then having those, really getting in that early stage of a mouth ulcer makes a difference. But it has changed my relationship to mouth ulcer.
That is so interesting.
And then this has also, this is flaxseed oil, hemp seed oil, avocado oil, evening primrose oil, and pumpkin seed oil. So those are all like lovely fatty products. They're things for, we were talking about kind of menopause, perimenopause things. Once you get kind of over 35, when I'm talking to women about skin health, I'm always saying that season of our skin from 35 upwards is kind of hydration. So it's about what do we put in our body, how do we hydrate it, and then Ayurveda, we would talk about like bojas form of food, so things that are hydrating, and those are all the oils, dates, nuts, avocados, all those kinds of things, so we hydrate from the inside out. And then we want to put oils on our skin, so oil cleansers, serums, oils on our face, that kind of stuff. And that's why they call this the beauty oil, because it's just so nourishing for everything, but it has myriad other benefits, right? I mean, you can talk more
I could go on for hours about it. We won't go on for hours about it though. But essentially, so flaxseed oil, you've got like lots of antioxidants that protect the skin from damage as well. What's beautiful about whole foods, the fundamental thing is that always when you find a whole food, you'll find the thing that's vulnerable to oxidation, so like the fats, and you'll find the fat soluble antioxidants, the thing to prevent the fat from spoiling. Which unfortunately, when we look at kind of modern food stuff, refined processed stuff, those things are always removed. So that's why you get to a whole food, you always have the two things encapsulated, and that's why. So going around the body preventing heart disease, thinking of that sort of stuff, like cholesterol, oxidation cholesterol is the big thing that causes heart disease, essentially, or one of them, and fat soluble antioxidants are the thing that prevents it, because that prevents cholesterol from oxidizing in our body, so in our bloodstream. So yeah, that's a big thing. Protecting from your skin from damage from sunlight, it's huge for that. Eye health as well. Linseed oil is powerful for eye health, particularly moisturization, that lubrication on the tear film. Pumpkin seed oil, also great for like, so fats or hormones as well, like you were saying, in terms of times of life. Like if you vibrational fats, like one of the things the guy David Wolf used to say, who's a kind of he's a bit of a weird hippie, but he has some really great information as well. He would say that like when he worked a lot with women and fertility, and he found that if you look at like our ancestors, our body won't get pregnant unless it feels like the conditions are optimal nutritionally for getting pregnant. And what he would do is he'd just load in fats. If you load in fats, women will get pregnant. And there's lots of reasons for it, I guess. But like some of the nitty gritty is that like the fats make hormones, and also your body's like, oh, I've got this abundant source of things. I mean, they make everything. Like every cell lining is made from omega-3 fats. Like there's no kind of end to the benefit. So when they put beauty oil in front, yes, it's beauty oil, but it's also like you're saying, from the inside out, it's kind of doing all the foundational stuff as well.
And it's also smart at this time of year. Like we give a lot of talks about how to live within the seasons of your life, but the seasons of now also in nature. Autumn, winter, you want to bring all those healthy fats in as well, because they're just such a great availability.
Yeah, we always try it in winter, don't we?
And so how do you take it?
So I personally, maybe this is wrong, then they'll tell us. I put it on my porridge.
I cook it.
So
I fry my onions.
It real hot. I just put tablespoons of it on my porridge. Actually, like when I grew up, my dad always used to give us porridge with butter on it. Like that was like the Scottish way, and that was kind of typical to kind of do fats. We didn't do. Now we know that that's actually really good for you, but at the time it was just how I grew up having porridge. So it was such an easy switch for me to go, okay, I'll just put oils on my porridge as well. But for lots of people, that's a weird concept to have oil on porridge. Actually, it just goes in there with the milk, and it makes it really unctuous and really delicious. So it's very easy. You could also just take it on a spoon.
Yeah, and disappears into a smoothie, disappears into yogurt. There's lots of ways to kind of slide it in if you need to slide it in.
Salad dressing?
Definitely salad. The only problem is with the really expensive oil, like a 30 quid oil, like you're going to have some oil on the bowl. You want to lick the bowl. I don't know. Like you can. Cool. The money no object version, drown all your raw foods in beauty oil.
Just don't invest it. Get that bread in there and muff it.
That's it, yeah. Cool. Where do we go next? Speaking of oils, maybe, will we?
Yeah.
Will we keep it on oils? Fun.
Beautiful bottle.
Ridiculous thing.
I'm
Everyone's
just
drawn to it.
Yeah, it's
I suppose I wasn't really that interested in what was in it. I was just like, I just think this is going to look so beautiful on my table, and I love butterflies. But I'm sure there is some.
Yeah, there's some magic to it. I mean, like olive oil in general. If olive oil is good, it's obviously rich in polyphenols. So polyphenols are the things that make it bitter and peppery. All the characteristics of olive oil come from those polyphenols. Polyphenols are in various ways responsible for protecting our DNA from damage, so improving longevity. So you'll always find, like, when you look to what's called the blue zones, which are these cultures around the world that are like the most like longest living cultures, where the most centenarians are there, olive oil is there. Essential fats like salmon will be there. There'll always be omega-3 rich things or polyphenol rich diets as well. And so the polyphenols are in there to help to protect your DNA from damage, and also protect the olive from damage. So that's always, it's one of those whole food kind of magic things. If you're getting it close to whole food, you'll get the thing that protected the fruit from damage when it was on the tree, essentially. But yeah, also, so hydroxytyrosol, which is in there, it works like an anti-inflammatory. It's amazing. So if you go to Greece, I think we might have said this actually on previous podcasts, so I don't want to harp on this for very long, but they will have a bottle of olive oil, which is like an early oil, they call it green oil, and they'll keep it in their medicine cabinet, and they'll dose their kids with it in winter time, that sort of stuff, because they know the power of olive oil as a whole thing. So when you harvest it early, you get much less oil, but you get much more concentrated polyphenols. So it's magic, but it just tastes freaking delicious, and it looks amazing. That's really
And do you take away any of the good qualities by mixing it with vinegar? Like if you're doing dressing?
Not at all. I thought you were going to say cooking with it. I was like,
okay,
no.
This is I got the message earlier. We don't talk about it.
So So I mean, like,
Lydia put herself out there. I'll just.
No, absolutely not. No, great with vinegar, and actually, there's lots of other benefits as well. Because if you're using a good apple cider vinegar, also antimicrobial, digestive, pH support, all sorts of good stuff. So I think, yeah, great to mix in, and it's just such a lovely oil. Lydia always gets really, not annoyed, but when I taste these oils, I'm like I don't know.
You're an olive oil snob.
I'm a real olive oil
It's like
snob.
wine.
Connoisseur
You're
of
like
olive
the
oil.
flavour.
You slurp, you have the same slurp situation.
I think the ways it's like, try this olive oil. Do you like? I'm like, I can't.
It's so nerdy. I'm getting so embarrassed. But yeah, it's a nice way to explore it, because it's like coffee, it's like chocolate. It's one of, well, maybe not for you necessarily, but for some of us, we have kind of broadened a little bit in terms of, we've been able to know there's like layers to this thing in terms of flavors. With coffee, definitely, and the same with olive oil. You know, there's ranges of it, from nutty to fruity to grassy to peppery to almondy, nutty to that. And so it's nice to explore it. And this is a big tart. But the Hoji Blanca is really light, really fruity, really green, delicious. They call it the night oil because it's gentle. They have a day oil that's much more punchy. So,
and I think, it's a lovely present as well, isn't it?
It
For
is.
Christmas, if you're looking for something for a foodie or who loves health,
Yeah.
you can easily give them that. And the thing is, it's not one of those things they're like, we don't like candles that's sitting around.
Yeah.
You're like, everyone uses olive oil, but it's also a lovely introduction. And like you said, lots of us want to have pretty things on our table, and it's cool too. So having a pretty bottle like that, it's like a lovely alternative Christmas present.
And put a candle in it.
yeah, exactly. That's good. That'd be true.
Okay, we've got some more oil then.
Let's
because
do it. We're
on the oils.
Wow.
So I went for a serum. So I was saying earlier that I'm going through the winter change of like dryness in my skin, and you said you started this and it's made a huge difference. So I'm very excited. I hadn't heard of this brand, so I'm super excited to try it. And I have no doubt it's going to be.
Tell me first, what is your like skincare routine in general? Do you
Wash my face.
This is the mother's thing, I think.
No. I do. I have a good skin. I have a good skin routine. Yeah.
So do you use like cleanser or
Cleanse. I double cleanse. Then I.
This isn't a test. I'm just
No. I double cleanse and then I use
Really?
an exfoliant. It's called P50. It's from this French brand. Then I use a serum. Then I use my moisturizer at night, and then in the morning I just swap it out for my moisturizer to an SPF.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, so serum.
You do lots.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I think the thing is that my experience of working with women in their skin, which is a huge part of my work now, is just, I think we get overcomplicated. Like lots of us think that we need to buy more and more products, and as the stuff doesn't work, we get more sold on, well, I do buy I'm going to buy the vitamin A, and then I'm going to buy the, the stripping thing, and then I'm going to buy the oil, and then I'm going to buy the enzyme, and then I'm going to buy the mask. And if I just keep adding more things in, then maybe the thing is finally going to happen. But actually, the reality is, it's like we were saying before, you need to be putting the right stuff internally into your body, the foods and stuff. You need to get enough sleep. You need to be not phenomenally stressed. You need to have a massage, and we need to do all of those things. And then you need to have really good quality stuff. So I'm always saying to people, better to have like a really good quality oil cleanser, really good quality toner, and a really good quality serum, and use nothing else. Just spend your money on those things rather than having lots of things, because the microbiome in skin gets confused, like the microbiome in the gut, if you're constantly like stripping and putting on and whatever. So your routine sounds really nice. At winter, I find that summer I just had those three things. Then in winter I add in two things, and one of them is this. And this is a bioretinol line reduction serum, but it's not chemical based. Like there's not loads of stripping things. When we put more chemicals in our body, because we have so many chemicals going into our body every day anyway, we're just adding more work for the skin to do, and also the kidneys and the liver and all those kinds of things. So we want to take the load off, so the skin can get back to going balanced. And this is really, I feel relaxed, just like in mums' lives. Like if we take the work out, we can actually go, oh, actually I know what to do to make everything work better. It sounds really beautiful. It's a lovely New Zealand brand.
Yeah, it's actually the most popular brand of cosmetics, full stop, natural and not natural, like altogether. It's amazing, like #1 selling brand in New Zealand, which is crazy. It has been for like 3 or 4 years. It's bizarre how things kind of trickle over to Europe from some places like New Zealand. Trilogy obviously was previously the best-selling skincare brand, I believe, in New Zealand, and these guys have outstripped it. I think they do a lot of work on collagen synthesis, so they do a lot of like in vitro work where they will add in this on top of skin cells and see what happens in terms of collagen renewal. And this one, they've proven that just 55% increase in collagen synthesis. That's kind of a big claim, but it's real. They're not like bullshitting.
Yeah.
It's huge though, because collagen, especially at our age, is really, really important. You know, it's where we want that kind of plump elasticity in our skin, and collagen is that. But it's also many other things. But in terms of the skin, and this has bakuchi oil as well, which is really good for like repairing. Say you've got scar tissue or you've got sunspots or any of those things, all the pigmentation things. It's really good for that. It's the lovely prickly pairing and kakai.
Yeah, no, it was the first time I've come across Kikay. I mean, I know I'm not from the Maori culture, and I think that's where that comes from. But
it's
yeah,
also vitamin A.
yeah, exactly. So it's another vitamin A.
But it smells. I mean, it smells so good. It's like rosy and lovely and light. So you put it on, and it's lovely. You only need to put a few drops on. I put it on morning and evening, and I found that it's increased the hydration of my skin massively coming into this time of year. But it's also going to minimise the appearance of fine lines and wrinkles and those kinds of things. So I think it's like a wonder product, and it's not. This range is really. I think it's reasonably priced for what it is, and it's beautiful as well as another beautiful thing that you can have on your shop.
I know, I'm very excited.
Can I ask quickly, where do you find out about your skincare stuff? Is it like influencers? Is it friends? Like, where does that usually?
It's funny, online, isn't it? Or, so I think since Mum Talks, we've got to meet so many amazing women who are skincare experts. So they studied medicine or they studied, and generally I think I've always gone down the route of the expert, the most expert, and I've kind of stuck to them. Because like I grew up, my mum was a Pond's woman, you know, and swore by Pond's. So she wouldn't have bought loads of products. She was just being very traditional, stuck to the same thing. So I feel like I try and go for the expert, and so like it's not necessarily money for me on products, as in I'm not that I spend a lot, but I would be happy with the recommendation of like a €5 oil if it's coming from the right person.
Sure.
So it's I'd say through Mum Talks really is where I get my information, and that's online or.
It's nice that supporting founders as well. That's good.
Yeah,
You're getting something from it too.
I think we've realised that we both have very different skin.
Oh yeah, it's totally different.
So sometimes and that was a real kind of wow to me, because I'd be like, Cara, what are you doing? Just what are you doing?
Yeah.
And then I'd be like, this isn't working for me.
Yeah.
So it is kind of, or vice versa.
Yeah.
So that's I mean, it kind of sounds obvious, but it was quite interesting.
Yeah.
Makeup as well, we find.
Yeah, so different.
So different.
Really individual.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, it's funny because I mean, most of the people who are it's the same with health and cosmetics, beauty, like in everything, where you get an influencer that says like, do this, it'll do this, and you're like 90% of the time it's not going to, because they're not the same skin as the person who's on the screen. It's a funny, there's so much suck it and see around cosmetics, isn't there?
And I think also I am an absolute marketer stream.
Okay.
Really? Like, you put something shiny in front of me, and then it's so. You know the 18 lip balm that I bought. I just bought this lip balm that said it's gonna pump your lips up by 90%.
What?
And I was like,
Bye. Oh, they have a 6+1. Let's get it.
That's something I was like in my head that I ever wanted, but now I'm like, I want that.
I need that.
So I am a bit of a. I will try a lot, but generally I will, like if it's my proper skincare, I will absolutely go expert advice, and then just buy pretty stuff.
Nice.
So you're saying
My
when
cosmetics.
I'm teaching my facial online, I should just be making like outlandish claims like, do this and your lips are going to get 70
Yeah.
times bigger.
100%. I'll be like, hell,
Done.
I'm looking in for a 6-week course.
Get crazy this. Get crazy.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Okay.
On the cosmetic thing, we keep going on that.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
This is
very
fun.
excited
I'm
about this.
Obsessed with it.
Isn't it cool? I mean, I found this when we were away in Cork, wasn't it? And I was like browsing for new products when you kind of supplier kind of doing with it like global kind of hunting. And I found this amazing American brand, and I was like, "This, come here, look at this." It was like finding, it was like a David Attenborough. I was like, "Found something," and it was like, but it's amazing, like all organic, and it's like the simplest thing ever, and yet you put it on your lips, and it's like a serious cosmetic-y thing, isn't it? It's a serious cosmetic thing. Shows how much I know. But you know what I mean?
High pigment for a lip balm.
There you go, high pigment content. It really
So
is.
the thing is, and one of the reasons I think, I mean, you were obviously selling like natural cosmetics before you met me, but I'm really like, I love to wear makeup. I think it's really fun. I want to wear fun colours, but I won't put anything on my skin unless it's natural. So for me, I've been stuck in this really murky range of like browny, pinky stuff that I just wasn't interested in. That was all that was available for ages. So I kept seeming to feel like, please God, find stuff that's like fuchsia pink or orange or shiny gold or something that I actually want to wear on my skin, but it isn't going to add loads of toxic chemicals on. And so now you started finding all these amazing things, and it's just so exciting to be able to say to people like, you know, yes, you can wear these colours, but they could also be good for your body and good for the planet. It doesn't have to be this thing that's a drain.
Do they do foundation as well, or do they?
No, they're actually extending their range all the time. They're one of those companies where they really punch above their weight. They look like they're part of New York Fashion Week sort of thing. They have this sort of vibe, and they're kind of up there, but they have a very limited range. They have like a serum, a rose water, an oil cleanser, this range, which was their kind of first thing, which is all kind of lip balms, and they have the amazing lip perfector thing, which is, I was like, exfoliant for your lips, my mind is blown.
I was like, it's really important.
Yeah, interesting. I've heard so much about it since as well. It's been great. It's been nice to talk to me about it. But yeah, so they're I don't think they have actual cosmetics yet, but they're extending all the time. So yeah,
my two favourites, she can't get in the shop. Are
mean.
Sorry, I just have to tell you.
Go on, fine.
Perez, which is E-R-E-Z, so they're an Australian company. So at the moment you have to order from Australia. So me and my friends like bulk buy together and then share the bulk cost. But they have really good foundations and stuff. And then Pi, which you can order from Ireland, they have really lovely like glow serums that go in the foundation, so you can have the foundation and have the glow serum as well, so you get lovely like slightly shiny iridescent skin. And they've got a huge range, but they're all really natural as well. And so if you're looking for an expansive stuff, until Finn has got one in his shop, you can go there.
There you go. That's it. We kind of it all. Well, we go on. Sorry.
Okay. So I noticed that question about this. What I loved about this was did you say there's like, is it beetroot that makes the colour?
Beetroot. What I think it is beetroot in that one, is it? There's a whole different. It's on this side, I think. Look, what have you got? Marigold, peppermint, beeswax, sunflower, camellia. What is it? Beetroot?
What makes the
Iron
colour?
oxide, manganese, mica for the shimmer, silica, and then a tiny bit of titanium dioxide. So yeah, so it's amazing. Actually, I don't even know how the iron oxide. I guess but it's a blend of those things. The manganese and the iron oxide, I think, that are making the color.
And it feels amazing when it goes on as well. Marigold flower extract.
And that's castor as well. So castor will go really into it really quickly, which is really nice. So it'll like deeply hydrate.
Yeah.
And then it has peppermint in there as well. So that's like tingliness, which is good. So nice circulation.
Like the smell.
And the colour pops.
They've got great colours, neutral ones and bands.
That's cool.
And you've got great names. That one's called Jolene.
Yeah.
I mean, it's so good. It just feels like Jolene would have worn that colour.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Exactly.
She was like, "What's doing there?"
Right.
Next.
Okay, let's go glam.
Super glam, yeah, exactly.
So, taking away from Lucy's luscious lips,
Level up.
I'm going to talk about my daily kitchen. So I was saying, like, I was saying to Lucy, like, I definitely go online, shop, Tesco, whatever's easiest, fill in my basket, don't change. But I have been trying to look at alternative cleaning products in the house. My husband's got really bad respiratory issues. So I had Eco something, I think. I don't know.
Cover?
Yeah. And then I saw this, and I love Clementine, so I love fresh smelling kitchen, and I feel like Dettol, it does the job, but it just doesn't give me that kind of fresh smell, and also with no toxic. So I said I'd try this. So this is a first for sure. So I'm not in any way claiming that that I use clean products, but this is my first one that I want to really try and try and just change my habit of shopping.
I think that's what we use most, is the surface cleaner.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah.
Exactly.
And I think it's kind of a myth really that you need to have like a bathroom cleaner, and it's just a way to make us buy more products.
Mostly.
There are certain things that you need, like for the oven or degreasers or certain things that are different, but generally like an all-purpose spray is really like a one-shop thing. And I think for me it was also about when I became a mum. Like I knew that my kid was going to be crawling on the floor, putting his hands on everything, licking all the surfaces, doing all that stuff, and I didn't want him to be exposed to all those chemicals. And you're cleaning much more at that stage as well, because there's spillages and stuff that's going on. And I think then, it's on their skin, as well. So that's another thing. You don't want them crawling around and rubbing their stuff on that. But also, like you said, with respiratory stuff, people with asthma or eczema or any of that kind of stuff, we breathe that stuff in, especially. Like I have a Dyson air purifier that I got last year, and it was fascinating for me because I only use eco stuff in my house. But when I sprayed in my house, in my kitchen, and I had my Dyson thing there, it was amazing how even the eco one made the air quality so bad instantly. And then, if you then compare that to which I did, the not eco one is actually quite terrifying when you're actually like looking at how many particles are in the end. It shows you the color coding of the thing. We just don't realize, so we're just breathing it in all the time without realizing how much that actually affects us. And I think it's such a simple switch because it's also just as effective, but also better for the planet. And that's we're all thinking about our kids and the planet. So it's nice to make those changes.
And it's such a wintertime thing as well, isn't it? for most of us, we're like indoors more, we're locked up inside, so we're much more exposed to the things that are around us. We're not kind of out our back garden, the doors aren't open, the windows aren't open the same way. I think respiratory wise, we talk about it a lot actually, but I don't know if you've ever come across this thing that there's certain plants that can clean the air as well. Have you come across that?
Yeah.
Okay, so like spider plants are incredible, bromeliads are really good, and they really do the job. Like NASA have studied them to see, because they were testing them, looking to bring them to space to clean the air up there and to oxygenate and that sort of stuff. And so certain plants, if you put them enough concentration around the house, particularly in wintertime, will actually help to remove VOCs, which are volatile organic carbon compound things. That might help your husband as well.
Well, his office, I can't go into it. It's got so many of these plants and cacti.
Oh, really?
That take all this.
Oh, cool.
Oh, he's really into it.
Oh,
And
that's
it's like
handy.
this machine that's beside for his. It's only for his office, though. Everyone else has to just suffer.
So he's got like a HEPA filter in there, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
That's wicked. Oh, he's well on top of his game.
Yeah. He'd be very into it. But the plants as well, which is really interesting. So,
It's huge.
he'd be into it. So,
That's
yeah,
great.
but as I said, that's his office and everyone else. And so I have to just start
Excellent.
tuning.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. Great. Good commitment. Like it. Something else for your husband will come next to that.
Yeah.
Maybe what will we do next?
Lions, I'm down to have
Okay.
lions.
Okay. Let's let's do it.
Yeah.
So you were talking about was it stress? You come across lion's mane. You grabbed it up yourself, right?
Yeah, so I'd heard about lion's mane, and I'd heard it in relation to nervous system and stress and just mushrooms. I was kind of really interested in as well. So again, don't know much about it, don't even know how I take it.
Okay,
but it's so it was nervous system and stress
response. Yeah. So it's interesting. So like I think we all have different stress responses, right? So some of us, there's usually 3 kind of categories we put people into. So like either people get angry in response to stress, they get panicky high state anxiety in response to stress, or they get really low mood and they just want to like shut the door and pull the covers over their head sort of stress response. This guy is particularly good for somebody who have more of a high panicky anxiety response to stress. That's what we find. Lion's mane is a part of a massive group of medicinal mushrooms. I mean, there's more, what is it? There's more species of mushroom on the planet by orders of magnitudes of like 10 than there are plants. So mushrooms as a kingdom is a really undiscovered country for us from a culinary point of view, from a medicinal point of view. There's so much that's out there, and there's only a handful of people like Paul Stamets and a few others who are doing work to kind of like bring that stuff forward. If you go to Japan, they use them in hospitals. They'll use medicinal mushrooms in oncological parts of hospitals. So there's like Europe, for some reason, has this thing where you have this deep underlying tradition of foraging for mushrooms, but then we kind of like cleave it apart from our medicines. And lion's mane is one of those things that kind of crosses the boundaries, and most mushrooms do actually. But lion's mane is particularly known to be useful for the gut and the gut-brain. So this gut-brain axis, this thing we talk about a lot these days, which relies on something called the vagal nerve pathway. And so and most of us know that you have this historical thing where if you're getting nervous system responses in the gut, you'll talk about like, I've got butterflies in my stomach, or those sorts of things. Those are things we talked about 20, 30 years ago. We didn't really understand this relationship. Lion's mane really makes sense of that relationship, because what it does is it works on neurotransmitters in the gut via working on the mucosal barrier in the gut, again, mucous membrane stuff, to augment neurotransmitter function in the gut that then regulates the brain. And it's this really interesting repatterning that a lot of people seem to benefit from. It's like we talked about CBD as well. I was like, CBD, less predictable, also very expensive. Lion's mane, not cheap, but much more predictable in terms of its result. I recommend this to a lot of people, whether it's like, IBS type stuff, like often that, because IBS is really a characterization of a nervous system disorder in the gut. Also inflammatory stuff in the gut, so IBD or Crohn's colitis or a million different things, but also just sleep and
sleep.
Really basic stuff.
And how soon do you tend to see results, or does it depend on the person?
This does depend on the person. It depends on what else you're doing in your life. If you're taking like a load of lion's mane, but you're also having like 4 cups of coffee a day, and you've got phones attached to your ear all day long, and you've got 15 kids around you, hopefully none of those things apply, not that extreme, but those things are the things that take away from the benefits. So like we're always looking at like, what you used to see on those ads for like weight loss things that say a lot works along with a calorie controlled diet, so it's kind of like, it is a little bit like that. This is definitely augmenting if you want to move away from other stressors, but you need to be conscious what the other stressors are doing in your life as well. So often it's like 7 to 10 days, bit of sleep change. 2 weeks to 3 weeks, feeling really different in stressful situations. And I think that's the thing where people usually notice it most. And then even more so if what we tend to suggest is cycling off it after about maybe 6 or 8 weeks and just seeing how you are when you're off it. Because we're often really bad at noticing symptoms disappear, but we're really good at noticing when a symptom comes on. Like you don't notice that your toe isn't sore, but you really notice when it is, you know. And I think that's the case with Lyme's and a lot of other things. If we stop taking it, and then I don't know if it was doing anything for me, but 3 weeks later we're going, I'm losing my mind. You know, you go, hang on a minute, the Lions baking might have been doing something.
This would be good. So by Christmas time, then it should have.
Should have well
Then
kicked in. Yeah,
everyone needs them.
That'll be
All the
test.
mums need the Lions mate
Yeah,
for Christmas.
Yes.
Exactly that.
You should
yeah.
know you'd take that.
Yeah.
Totally.
Mums talks lines me.
Yeah.
Who knows? New brand.
Okay, and then you have
Harry. Oh, we're going to do
Yeah,
Harry.
okay.
Okay.
Let's do that.
So Harry's nut butter. Oh my God. This is that's not the one I get though. No, I get spicy one. This is the spicy one.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
So you're spicy, you're not spicy.
Yeah, no, I'm spicy. This is, oh my God, I'm just so excited to actually leave now and tell Hope to keep this up.
Get a spoon.
It is, I can't even describe how tasty this is.
Yeah.
But it's like just on eggs. We generally put it on eggs or with
Sourdough
chicken
toast.
or sourdough toast. It
Pasta
has those.
sauce.
Don't put it on pasta with peanut butter.
Wait, but like a satay.
Oh yeah.
You can do it like noodles.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And
And
it's got the spice in there as well.
yeah,
so you
yeah.
can do like scallions
It's
and
so good. Like it's, I can't. Oh, it's so good.
and then
And
It's
have
an
you always been,
add-on.
like, when did you find Harry's? Do you remember?
I think it was in COVID
Okay.
in at one of the local shops,
Yeah.
and we were just trying to add it out. Yeah. Or did you tell me about it? I think I told you. Yeah.
Yeah.
The original one, and then that, and then there's the chocolate one.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's where it's
So
so.
in Fumbly Cafe is right.
Fumbly's an amazing staple for like small food producers. That's where Ryu came from as well. So Katie used to cook there. Harry was working there. Who made Harry's nut butter? Like loads of Scale, the guys who made Scale bread, they started baking there. So lots of little brands, really good food brands, have come out of the Fumbly Cafe. It's kind of amazing.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I actually haven't tried this one. I haven't tried the chili one.
Have you?
Oh.
I don't know why
How
how
is
I
that?
missed that.
That's
Weird.
weird.
Isn't there a chocolate one as well?
Yeah.
I think.
And hazelnut.
Chocolate one
Sure,
has
kind of
coffee. It's like
work, but
coffee and
yeah.
chicory and hazel. It's and it's delicious. But you look at the back and you go, probably
Yeah.
this is probably one step too far.
Yeah,
because I
yeah,
just
yeah.
need chocolate and hazelnuts, right?
Yeah,
But it's
yeah.
actually delicious.
And would
It
you
looks-
just put that on toast?
Totally.
Would you add
Yeah, I mean,
food,
a good pot of
banana.
granola or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, banana.
It's
There
really
you
good
go.
encourage.
Chalky banana toasting. Let's go.
Right, it's like
I'm actually really salivating.
Me too. I'm so hungry. I'm like, okay.
It's lunchtime.
Okay,
Yeah.
so
Oh,
let's
and then
do
yeah.
miso then.
Speaking of lunchtime, yeah.
Yeah. Yes, I'm excited about this. So
Yeah.
miso. I was in a restaurant and person I was with ordered roasted aubergine with miso, and I was like,
What?
weird. I got the burger, please. And but then I was just had such food envy, and he gave me a taste of it. It was
Nice.
absolutely delicious. So
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to try that. And also miso, I'd heard about for settling tummies that it was
Big time. Yeah, bang on. Yeah, nicely done. Miso is an amazing thing. It's been in your life forever. It's been in my life forever as well. Like, so when I was growing up, my dad, who started the shop with my mum, the only dad wasn't like the nursemaid around the house. Let's say he wasn't. You know, you were sick, you didn't get looked after for that. But the one thing he did do was if you had like stomach bug stuff or that sort of stuff, he'd be like, okay, I'm gonna give you some miso. I don't know what it was, but dad had this like deep macrobiotic kind of sense, and so he would like get kombu and shiitake mushrooms and celery and carrots, spice them up, boil them in water for like 10 minutes, then add in big dollops of miso, and that's what you'd eat first when you'd been a bit off or under the weather. And it really works. Miso's like fermented food, so we all know about fermented foods, but it's one of the most traditional ferments from Japan, which is probably the culture that is the most experienced with fermented foods if we go through them. But miso comes from soybeans, right? So it's soybeans and barley. So it's always like soybean and then some sort of other carbohydrate. And so the Japanese were apparently, this is like how the story goes, they didn't eat soybeans raw or roasted. Like, you know, the edamame thing, that's not really a big tradition there. Because they understood for some reason that actually you didn't really get a lot of the nutrients out of soy when it was just cooked or steamed. You had to ferment it to unlock the nutrients, and that's what happened. So soy is like an amazing source of calcium and iron and manganese and zinc and all sorts of other fantastic stuff. And yeah, so when you get it in miso form, you've got a fermented form, so you've got all of those nutrients are like unlocked really good for you. You're getting the probiotic stuff for your gut, all that sort of lovely stuff. I love
And
it.
it lasts ages and ages.
Forever and ever and ever.
Yeah.
So soup as a kind of a broth, and then with the aubergine, is there anything else you?
So I would often make a glaze for roast sweet potatoes with miso and harissa. That's delicious. And a little bit of maple syrup.
Maple syrup.
That's so divine. Roast sweet potatoes in the oven. Yeah. Or even lamb with that as well, same type of thing. You can do glazes for lots of things because it's got this really unctuous, salty vibe. Yeah.
So
yeah,
glaze,
it's
you
good.
just put in a saucepan.
So what I would do is I'd mix it with olive oil just to kind of loosen it up, and then put in a dollop of harissa, dollop of maple syrup, a bit of mustard maybe as well, and then glaze the sweet spuds, turn them in the bowl, pop them in the oven.
I know, so simple.
It's really yummy. It's really so simple. It's one of my favorite things. I can make it all the time with you. Yeah.
Okay,
Cool.
so Christmas.
Yes. So you'd loads to choose from in Christmas,
Yeah.
and you were trying to get me to get the truffle chocolate, which is just
I was
right.
into the truffle chocolate.
So you keep it, yeah. But we love coffee in our house, and I thought this is a lovely little present, and I love the box. Yeah, so for James, I'm going to give that to him.
So how many for your coffee at home? What's your methods?
We have a bean machine,
Mm.
so
Bean to cup.
bean to cup, yeah. Bean machine.
Yeah, one of those. Yeah. Is it Sage or one of those?
Sage,
It
yeah.
is. You're a smarty pants. You always know a good coffee household. They got a Sage.
Yeah.
I like Sage for all. I don't know. Everyone just like goes mad about a brand sometimes. You know, like there's a lot of hype there, but actually, from the point of view of
It's
making coffee,
unreal.
it's
Yeah.
as close as you get to a commercial quality.
Yeah,
coffee
yeah,
machine.
yeah. It's really good.
amazing.
And actually, what it did, so we got it in lockdown, and
So I think the
Yeah.
Sage machines went insane
Probably.
in lockdown. I think, yeah.
and I think what it's made us do was also, I don't really buy coffee. I know it's not good for local businesses. I mean, I still do, but generally, like the first cup of coffee in the morning, and actually, I don't know if you guys drink coffee, but for me in the morning, I get up before anyone in the house, and I go down and I have my cup of coffee in the kitchen, and it's really quiet with nothing, and I just sit there drinking
It's
it.
a little ritual.
It is a ritual.
You
It's
have
a
that
total
beautiful
ritual.
cup,
Yeah.
the glass cup
Yeah.
as well.
It's like I got nice glass cups, you know, the double.
You double wall things?
Yeah.
Yes, I'm
Yeah.
totally with you on that.
Yeah,
Totally
yeah,
with you.
yeah.
And
And it
that
makes
is
a huge difference to
doesn't
the
it?
taste of the coffee.
Isn't it weird? You can be tireder as a result of getting up earlier, but your day is definitely easier.
It makes such a difference.
Yeah, rather than on the
Really.
back foot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so in our house, coffee's a big thing, and I just thought it had to be a gorgeous present. I mean, it'll definitely be drunk before Christmas, but I'll wrap up the empty
Pre-Christmas
box
coffee.
and I'll drink coffee. And I just drink black coffee as well, so I really find I have to be really
Gotta be good.
particular.
You
It
gotta
has
know
to
the
be
flavors.
good.
Yeah. And do you like darker roasts or medium roasts or lighter
Dark.
roasts? Okay, well that's perfect
Yeah.
too, because the rest of the stuff that Cloud Picker does that we do, much more medium roast, much more like boutique-y,
Yeah.
kind of like, fruity stuff, but this is much more punchy coffee. I haven't even tasted it yet, but I'm just looking at the tasting notes are
Hazelnut.
chocolate, orange, honey, hazelnut, praline, come on.
Do they do decaf? See, I'm just
They
not
do?
Yeah.
Really good decaf,
Yeah.
which she
Yeah.
likes.
Really good
Yeah,
decaf. I
yeah.
use.
Yeah, decaf one.
Because I'm like super sensitive to decaf. Like even for me, like the caffeine in a decaf is too much loads of the time.
Yeah.
But the Cloud Picker one is the one because it's all, yeah, and it's delicious.
Yeah.
There you go. Nice.
Wow.
Okay.
So there we go. We got some
We
serious
learned so much. So much.
You're so
Thank you
welcome.
much.
Thank you for coming in. This
Oh,
has
it's
been so much fun.
amazing.
Brilliant.
Yeah, I feel like it's been like a school day in a good way.
Okay. It's Max.
I told you might have to yell at me.
An encyclopedia.
Yeah.
Like, you just have so much information.
I'm giddy about it, that's for sure.
That is
I mean,
amazing.
yeah. I don't know. I like, so, some stuff sticks and some stuff doesn't stick. It's, I think as I get older, I've been to think that actually yesterday morning I was thinking about this because I'm really bad with like names of actors. Like, don't ask me song names, but ask me like what the name of the compound is that pomegranates produce. Like, whatever. It's, and that'll be there. I don't know.
And
Just
do
get
you think you got that from your parents?
Yeah. But
where
like
did they
also
get it from?
different. And so that's weird actually, because my mum was a social worker. My dad was like a failed English literature student and agriculture bum. Like he was all over the place, he's doing all sorts of weird stuff. And my dad wanted to set up a fruit and veg shop like in 1979, and my mum was like, with what money? He's like, yours. And she was like, ah. So they did, and my gran was coming in baking bread and making soup, and then they got into like macrobiotic stuff because that started happening. So the same year my parents set up the shop, a cafe opened in Temple Bar, which was not hip at all in those days. Temple Bar was just like a drug den. It was a dangerous place. You didn't go there. And they opened up a cafe in Temple Bar called the Golden Dawn that had a yoga space upstairs. and that was like, you know, yoga's based in 1979.
Yeah.
Like they're still kind of newish now, you know. They're still kind of, so it was very progressive, and even the word progressive attached to my parents is odd because, you know, I feel like it's the only progressive thing that kind of ever did. I'm so sorry to say that out loud. That's really I suddenly realised how bad that's.
It's like terrible on the mum talks tone.
We're progressive ones.
We'll be editing this. All right, my
Don't
mum worships your mum.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Absolutely worships, because I grew up in Rathmines, so
Yeah.
mum was coming to see your mum and get like we'd go to the doctor, and the doctor would tell us the medicine. She's like, right, I'm just hopping down to Hopsack and to find out what you really need to be taking, and she'd come back with all these.
Yeah.
You know,
Well, I mean,
things
mum definitely. I think from a knowledge point of view, that was where all of my knowledge started. Yeah, without a doubt. Because she's trained as a master medical herbalist. She was involved in health freedom stuff when I was a teen and kind of growing up. And yeah, so I got definitely a lot of it from her. Dad had his weird little things. He did his miso soup. He did kombucha in the hot press in the baker's bowl. It stank. I was like, what is this crappy kombucha stuff? You know.
So amazing.
Yeah, it's for me. It was just so annoying.
Yeah.
But is it weird when it's too close to you?
I've
Like,
always been here as well.
no, we opened in Harold's Cross in '79. Opened here in December '83. They had one in Stillorgan for a couple of years, but that didn't work for lots of reasons. So yeah, and then we just kind of like trimmed down because they weren't getting to see us grow up. So they were like, okay, let's just do one and do it well.
And is it the oldest shop here?
I think it is now. Yeah. It was us and the hairdresser was called John Adams, and what was the third shop? Oh, the Wooden Spoon Bakery across the road. I think they were the other one. Opened December '83. Yeah, mad, eh?
Just the year after you were born.
70. Oh, sorry, yeah, 79. I was like, oh, I was born in '78. Sorry, correct. Yes, sorry. Yes, yeah, true. The year after I was born, I was 1. Yeah, it's true.
Oh, that's a big mum.
That's a big muscle. Mum is hardcore. My mum is really hardcore. She does it. There's no BS. Mum, like,
Yeah, so she's focused on what she needs. Yeah.
I think probably she could have done with the self-care stuff.
Yeah.
I think she'd say it herself now as well. She I think you could honestly talk to her about that. She would say, like, parenting in her day there was much less of an environment of culture of self-care, definitely, even in this kind of world, you know, definitely. And I think she, you know, the expectation, my mum was also part of, like, she was getting condoms legalized. She was a big part of that movement. So she was marching. She was like a real actual activist. She was out burning her bra in the late 60s. And like, so she really was an activist. I guess that's what the shop kind of comes from, that kind of activism. Yeah.
Amazing.
I don't think about it a lot, but it's a nice thing to reflect on.
Yeah, for sure.
Good one. Good mum.
Yes.
Well done, Mum.
Yeah.
Good mums make good
Well,
sons.
thank you so much, guys.
Thank you, mums, for talking. Small talks, mums.
Right, so
So good.
That's crack.
So we have to say thank you to our sponsors.
Yes, indeed. Yes, so thank you, Clearlight, for being our great infrared sauna partner. So we're very, very lucky to have a fantastic infrared sauna company called Clearlight, who, if you guys want to get the benefit of red light, that healing, inflammation reducing, energy enhancing, sleep supporting red light thingy, and you want to do that beautiful self-care, a bit like the cup of coffee in the morning, maybe it could be in a sauna though, come and talk to us, we'll get your discount codes. Also, we produced a range of clothing, our carefully, consciously curated capsule collection of conscious clothing, something like that. I think a double dozen one. But anyway, go to thewanderingintowellnessproject.com, please, to support this, and grab your last of, I think, our clothing that we've got remaining in stock. Nice pieces.
But they're good. We've got lovely winter. They're good for Christmas.
Yeah,
as
we're the
well.
right season,
They're
eh?
nice hoodies. They're unisex hoodies, unisex zip-up thingies, and t-shirts and long-sleeve tops, and they're all organic, all made ethically and sustainably.
All that
They
crap.
have no toxins in them, so when you put them on your body, you're not absorbing all those toxins into your skin. So that's a really important part of it.
Exactly, man.
Well.
That's it.
Right? So.
All right. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Post comments, and bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Yay, well done.
Thank you, guys.
Good job, guys.
A double clap. Oh, my
Yeah,
God, this is
well
real.
done.